Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're playing e4 as per usual. My opponent responds with a French defense. We are going to play the Steiner variation of the French with the move c4 here. Very aggressive, although they don't go for d5, which means we can't go for our ortho-snap gambit with queen b3. So instead, claim the full center. If you ever see your opponent just making these non-committal, sort of hippo-like moves, I think e6, b6 is actually a pretty standard idea. I'm assuming we're going to see bishop to b4 here, pinning the knight, threatening to win the pawn. Just claim the full center. If you want to be better against these kind of openings, just whack all your pawns in the center and make sure you don't blunder them. Like if I play knight f3 here, the bishop could just take this pawn as my knight is pinned, so this is an undefended pawn right now. We can just go bishop d3, I believe, defending this pawn. Maybe we'll see f5, although I doubt it, because that would drastically weaken the king. But maybe not that importantly, like if queen h5 is g6. Okay, so we just see the development of the knight. Now, I do quite like the idea of playing d5. I quite like the idea of just playing knight f3, and I think let's just play knight f3 to hold the pawn, develop the pieces. It's almost like, okay, nothing can really go wrong as long as we keep developing our pieces, claiming the fat center, and eventually using our space advantage to hopefully crush our opponent. So they go to e7, knight g7 here, instead of the move knight to f6, which would give us the move e5 with tempo. So that does make quite a bit of sense. I think, you know what? I'm going to play a3. I want your dark square bishop off the board. You're forced to take this, by the way, because otherwise we're going to trap the bishop. So then we take here. We have a fat center and the bishop pair, which is a good start. It's a very good start. I want a castle. I probably want to play e5. Ooh, that doesn't make sense to me at all, because I can take, getting rid of my doubled pawns. So now I don't really feel like there's much compensation for the fact I have the bishop pair, and now play e5, very much unopposed, opening up this. In fact, if you castle here, you get slapped with bishop h7 and a Greek gift sacrifice, super common. Well, not super common, but it's one of the most... Hello? Bishop h7. It's the Greek gift. The Greek gift, the story of the Trojan horse. This horse here, this knight, entering g5. And we check the king. And okay, our opponent brings their king out. If they had gone back to h8, then we go queen h5 check, king here and mate. If they go back to g8, then we go queen h5 anyway. And it's exceedingly hard, if not impossible, to stop checkmate on h7, because if you move the rook, then I go check, king here, check, maybe the knight blocks. It would have been more interesting, but they bring the king out, which means, I think, that we're supposed to go queen g4 here, and prepare a discovery. I think this makes sense, queen g4, queen g4. Is there another move? The knight is held, the king will not be entering back into the safety of its little home here. We are crucially holding the f6 square as well as the h7 square, and so this king is sort of walled off here from returning back to its home. So I'm thinking like queen d3, you can start blocking that. If h4 seems a bit slow, I think queen g4 on the other hand sets up a discovery that could potentially deliver check and win the queen. So I'm going to go for queen to g4. Just, I mean, it's got to be a good situation. Now we are down a knight for a pawn because we sacrificed back the bishop. And of course, obviously we had the bishop pair initially. So we're down a minor piece for a pawn basically, which is obviously because we sacrificed it on h7. However, the compensation we get from drawing the king out is soon to be shown as excellent, I think. I think we just win here. So this is a really, really cool move. It's a weird concept, a weird tactical concept that if you've never seen before, isn't necessarily obvious. The point is that if we try and give a discovered check, like knight takes f7, or for instance, okay, let's say we drop back to f3 with the knight, then the thing giving the check is the queen. And so to get out of check, our opponent can take the queen. However, if we play knight to e6, it is a discovered check, but we temporarily block the bishop's attack of the queen using our knight. So the knight gets in the way of the bishop's attack of the queen. The king steps back, and that is checkmate. What an attack. What a beautiful game. Maybe 100% accuracy, who knows? Wow, let's look in the analysis. Okay, so here we are in the analysis. If we scroll down here, you can see this graph tells a story of a pretty much perfect game, maintaining the advantage. Yeah, we may have let it slip with one inaccuracy here, back down to a little more drawing than it maybe needed to be. However, we played our, okay, well, let's go through the game. We don't just want to look at the graph, but 93% accuracy, not too bad, especially given one inaccuracy is the only like criticizable move here. So let's open the Masters database here. Here we go, e4 and e6, c4 here, and instead of going for d5, which if I open my own database personally here, is what I see the most, we also, I see this 55, so 56% of the time, 19% of the time I see c5, we see c6, 9% of the time, and b6 I have seen 4 times and have won every time. I have a performance rating of 29.79. Oh my goodness. Wow. So we saw b6, and I've had 4 games here. 4 games in this line. All of them I've played d4, and I've basically am rated 3,000 in this line against e6, b6. Wow. Wow, that is so cool. Okay, so apparently I've had 5 games in this line actually. One of them must have started with b6 from black and then transposed. We played d4 in all of them, bishop b7, and okay, here I've now had a few more games, which would mean that basically we played e4, e4, b6, d4, bishop b7, and then apparently just c4 and e6. But I've gone for knight c3 every time. Then we've seen bishop here. And okay, I've just won all of the games from this position. I've played bishop d3 4 times, which I believe is the best move. If we look at the Masters database, yeah, okay, the Masters database, as I said, f5 is the most critical follow-up, putting pressure on this diagonal, which has been freshly weakened. Then queen h5, g6, queen e2 is the apparent master follow-up, knight f6, bishop g5. And this ends in very few wins for white. This is a pleasant line for black, apparently. fe4, bishop e4. Oh wow, bishop e4. I take here, you take here, and then I take here. This ends in a lot of draws at master level. But the point is, instead of this critical move f5, which keeps a lot of the pressure on, they go for the move knight to c6 instead. And here, the masters are winning all the games. If we go back to me, I've had 1 game, and it is this game that they've played this. And if we turn on the engine here, just developing the knight seems to be the best response. Maybe to the e2 would have been a little more accurate. And then a3 is the only inaccuracy of the game, because I should have gone bishop d2 and not allowed the doubling of my pawns. However, after we take and move past this, here, takes is best, e5 is best, and it's just a great gift. Lads, this is awesome. How many times has this game happened in the Lichess database, I wonder? 33 times. 33 times, and 15, most of the time, the opponent does not play the Greek gift. However, when they do, king takes, knight g5, and then if we see king g6 is actually the best move, king g8, queen h5, rook e8 is the only move to stop mate, and then we can take here, here, check, here. They want us to repeat again, but here, here. Oh, and then what, just castle? Probably play f4 and like open this, just keep attacking. Wow. If I go here, that's not actually so strong, right? Knight g8? Huh. That's very interesting, but king g8 you see leads to pretty dire circumstances for our opponent. King here obviously leads to our forced checkmate, and if the king had come out here, then we'd actually have queen g4 anyway. We wouldn't even win the free queen. I mean, let's just point out, sorry, just the easy solution is just take here, double check, and win the free queen. So yeah, it would have been terrible. Basically, whatever happens after they castled, it's kind of easy to miss this unless you're really looking out for it though, because you can just castle thinking, ah, my king's safe. No, it is not. So after the check, king g6, queen g4, was this the best move? I had to think about queen d3. Queen g4 is still a really strong move. Oh no, the engine starts to prefer it more and more as it thinks. I think they're very, very similar. Yeah, they're basically the same. They seem to be alternating, and they're basically the same. And after Queen g4, our opponent's only real move is to play f5, because otherwise I'm just going to give this discard check. You have to attack the queen more directly than bishop here, else, as we saw, I could block that. So after the queen went back, I mean, could I not take en passant? Apparently queen c8, check. King takes pawn, check. And the king just is escaping. Very, very interesting stuff. If we'd seen f5, queen g3, queen e8, apparently, I go for h4 and keep attacking this king. The point is, this king is not escaping. We keep this king in a box. I guess that's why you don't want to en passant, because then you let the king run. And we are just going to attack it and exploit it. But of course, after the fatal blunder of bishop back to c8, seems like a good move. Attacks my queen. It is just mate in 2. It is forced mate in 2 with this beautiful move, knight to e6. If we look at the engine here, you can actually see that there are only 2 moves that maintain the advantage for white. Obviously, knight to e6 is one, and e6 is another. Anything else, like say you step back with the queen, it's just it's actually not good for it's not good for white anymore. This king's somehow fine. Like, you just attack the queen, push it about a bunch, f6. The king's going to eventually run, and you have to find this move. But of course, we did find the move, knight to e6, and you see the king has very, very few options, which by I mean it has to go to the fateful h7 square. We're not going to try and cash in on the queen here. I mean, we could probably give a check, the king moves, and then take a queen, and we're completely winning here. But obviously we have queen takes g7, checkmate. The king was drawn out, sent back, and punished for its castling insolence with the Greek gift sacrifice. It's a super, super important tactical pattern to be aware of. Generally set up when the bishop is on d3. It can obviously be anywhere along this diagonal, but that just tends to be the natural place for it to be, as that is the intersection between this diagonal and the f1 square where it starts. So often if the bishop's on d3, knight's on f3, and queen is on its starting square, not only defend against this by not castling kingside here, as our opponent did, but also look out for it. I mean, set it up. It's a really strong idea. And even if they do defend it, maybe with like an h6 move, maybe you can play h4. And maybe if they then castle, I mean, the engine's going to tell me this is rubbish. Oh no, it's not. The engine's going to tell me this is absolutely correct. Knight g5. And if they take, then you're in a whole world of trouble as black here, because like you're just getting mated. You're getting absolutely slapped with the h-file. So go for this setup. Super, super interesting. But thanks so much for watching. This is day 6 of 6 posting in a row on this channel, which is awesome. Steady with the gameplay videos, and we are going to be back with another one tomorrow. So stick around, subscribe, like, comment. All of that stuff really helps, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.